No, they won't have. Well, they might. Oh, time. Welcome. Thank you. You just don't understand. So, at the dance, we seldom make time for thoughtful dialogue of different perspectives among dancers, organizers, and musicians. So here's the baseline question. Where are there missed opportunities to communicate? And when are there times not to communicate? What would you really like to say if you could say something to somebody? And the other party had time to listen, and you implied an invitation to the other person to hear their that's important. This is not a complaint session, ladies and gentlemen. This is a discussion session.
You'll hear that a few times. Because it gets tempting. When we're really talking about dialogue, trying to get the communication working both ways, and listening is a key element in that. Much as we'd like to deliver our personal experience and fix someone else.
So we have a couple of examples. Here's one. Am I hurting you or you?
We'll find out.
Here's one. So this is while you're dancing. The Alaman, right. Ow!
And usually, what do you get? About 3 seconds total? How much can we find out about her sensitive wrist? We're gone.
Differences in style. The dancer, or caller, who wants to dance and be on time, versus the dancer who loves expressing through flourishes. I'm not looking at you, Bob.
She's looking at me.
Flourishes, bandies on time. Musical preferences. This might happen more in English dancing. Wanting to go up to the band as a dancer and say, can you just play a melody that I can hear? Or this happens to congregate callers. Can you tell the band not to play so fast? The band's playing too fast. Cultural differences. Going to a very different community, and it is different, and you're like, why do they do it that way?
Or what's going on? How do I fit myself into this?
What do I need to understand?
Especially how with partnering in particular. You've gone somewhere where you're not known.
Oh, yeah. How do I fit in when they don't know me? Role play. This one's coming up a lot now that we have several different generations dancing. This happened even back in my day. 2 women dancing together in male-heavy Boston. And a guy coming up and saying, if you two split up, the other guy and I can dance. And I had to say, she and I actually want to dance together. Another role play that's going on. Nope, yeah, my name's Lisa, but I'm dancing the dance role. Oh, you are? So what misunderstanding is happening there, or what could we be doing? And then there's this example, Lynn. On to the next.
Whoa.
What just happened there? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
No. I know it.
I don't know if it makes sense, but I've seen it.
So did Scott.
So, what we'd like first is to elicit some other examples like these that we're just talking out from you guys, things we've seen or experienced. Then we'll be breaking up a small group to actually tell stories. Because often there's a lot of background and follow-up. Any other illustrations?
You know, when people are swapping partners and stuff all over the place, and my partner goes off, and I wish we could communicate about whether or not they're going to participate in that before we sign up for the dance.
Yeah. Okay. That's an expectation that's stable.
Something I've observed occasionally is the hotshot dancer and coming along as a neighbor to the new dancer and confusing the hell out of the new dancer with all the flourishes and the thises and the thatses instead of just alamandrake.
Doing that, I'm used to thumb glued to the hand, I have here had people literally pick up my thumb so they could interlace.
Whoa. That was made up for your fingers. We'll fix you.
I mean, on a similar vein to what you were saying before, the what I perceive as insensitivity on the part of certain experienced dancers, where it's all about them. They want to show off everything they can do. It's on a similar vein to coming to a newcomer, but it actually affects everybody in line. They're dancing for themselves. They're not seeing dance as a communication between everybody in the line. They want to show everybody what they can do, and they're not really interested in your dance experience or anyone else.
Another one?
There are people who are too interested in other people's dance experiences or their own. It's what frequently happens. You talk about people being late because they're flourishing. I find in a number of English communities, people are early. They're trying to show that they know the dance and make sure that everybody else is ready. Because the circle's supposed to start with a phrase, and they're starting the circle 4 beats ahead. And I don't want to do that, and they're dragging me along and thinking that I don't know how the dance is supposed to do.
Hold on, wait.
They either encourage or squares when the callers try to teach, especially squares, and within that group, someone's talking loudly, or you're trying to teach over it, or just ignoring, and you know full well that what's going to happen when the dance starts. Beginners, and if you're a real experienced dancer, you've seen this, how do you tell this other person, hey, we need to hear, listen to the caller? Nicely.
One more, Bob.
Related to that is when your group of 4 is getting late and you know you're not going to make the next phrase, so getting people resynced.
When some people may not understand that they're unsensitive.
Or may not have the capacity to shift past a move that's late and go to the next one.
So we're going to role model a way that I know is really easy to take care of yourself, have a good communication, elicit the response from the other person, and then we'll tackle the other one, which is harder, and we're hoping that you'll help us figure out what to do. Scott, earlier when we were allemanding, I know that I gave you a face, and that's because I have a hard time with my wrist. So I'm wondering, can we work together and figure out how we can allemand? Yeah, so actually for me, if it's straight, that helps. That's it. Does that work for you? Does that feel good?
Yeah, that's just.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now what I did is I made an I statement. I didn't go up and say, so you really hurt me, buddy, and I'm going to show you right now. No. It's an I statement. It's about my experience. This one is harder. We don't have an answer for this. We were on the phone for like an extra half an hour going. Lynn and I are good friends. Lynn and I are 20 years younger than Scott, theoretically. And then I get to Scott, and so what do you think happened? Why is he on me like that?
That's how you liked it?
Exactly, and I think this happens a lot. He saw that Lynn and I were having fun in a very certain flirtatious kind of way, and he assumed Lisa's flirtatious. I talked with her in the hall an hour ago. She'll do this with me. I don't know what I would say. Depends on whether I know the person.
But again, we have so many situations where there's very little time, and the opportunity for misunderstanding is huge, and we make inferences based on our best guess of what that person is thinking. Why is that person being what seems so inconsiderate to me? Or why, when I did this thing, why when I'm a caller, I say, would you guys... That set over there doesn't have enough dancers. Would a few of you please join on? And they're like, so again, we're trying to ease away from the complaint element, but this is your moment to get into groups of 3. Try to get with people you don't know, so wander around the room. We'll close our eyes and be random. You got an important insight, Gary?
Well, could I address what you were just talking about, the whole thing about the difference?
Yeah.
Something that has happened frequently with me is I've been around this now for more than 10 years, and there are women that I will start to dance with, and it is literally we run into each other's arms. Just like, you and Lynn were doing, that sort of thing. But another thing that happens to this day
there are women that I have danced with for over 10 years. Has the subject of bracing come up?
Well, it's the same thing. The signal.
Well, it's the signal where, shall I demonstrate?
No, just keep talking. Yeah.
Basically what it is there are women that I've danced with for over 10 years who absolutely want no part of being close. So they will brace you, okay? And when you're braced, then you know it's like, okay, that's appropriate and no more. So that's how I've seen that situation.
So sometimes it's nonverbal. You may.
It's precisely.
We're gonna find. We're gonna look for all kinds of solutions, verbal, nonverbal, and anything else. Groups of 3, people you do not have a lot of overlap with. I think that opportunity is good in this room, but do circulate.
Yeah, out of the chairs, out of the chairs.
And then we'll give you instructions. Get your grits, your threesomes. I forgot the bell was here. Sorry. Once you find your threesomes, find a space that's yours. You probably will want to sit down. And Lisa's going to give us instructions about how this three-way interaction works. It comes in two sections.
I think we're smooth now.
It's okay. All right, so here's your task.
Part 1.
Part 1. Think about a time when you misunderstood somebody, and you're just going to talk about that. Think about another time when you know somebody misunderstood you. So in other words, it's not complaint. It's really about your own experience and what happened. And then we're going to give you a quick thing to, and you can express it any way you want to.
Yeah.
Verbally or non-verbally?
Yeah. Sure, go for it. If you can convince those guys, any way you like. So share stories. You got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Them talking about that for like 6 minutes. Take 2 minutes, 40 perhaps. 14 total for all the way. You have to be quick. So this, we get someone saying, make an assessment of when you're speaking, and then leaving that out. What would you say? I don't know. What would you say if you say absolutely anything? I guess anything, and here's the guidelines. You have to be able to make it enough about your experience, and you have to tag on an invitation. Right. That's what the threesome is for. One person tries it, one person role plays, one person watches. That'll take time. Sounds like Facebook. Right? Set up the structure. 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Use your group to help you assess. Can you say something to the other person? Is it worth it to say something to the other person?
Yeah.
And we're going to give you some guidelines. Here are the guidelines. This is a red flag. So we're going to actually have you role play. One of you is going to be the aggrieved or misunderstood party, talking to one other person, and the third person is listening and observing. So I would encourage you to make an I statement because you're talking about your experience. And an I statement is not, I think that you, or I feel that you. And here's the trigger. If you can imagine hearing that with a finger, as opposed to, that was really loud for me. It was just too loud for me. So what can we do? Blah, 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 blah. You'll figure it out. And you might, in doing this exercise, realize there's no way to do this, and maybe it's not worth it, or maybe I need help, or maybe the other person can help you figure it out. And, really, if possible, can you invite the other person to give their experience as well? So,
not even if possible.
Do it. Figure out the way
to make it a dialogue. Because that way someone is participating rather than just being dumped on. And that gives them a chance to listen and to talk back. And they may find something interesting coming back.
Go.
Women are so conditioned to be branded and makes the
Something will happen. people haven't seen this earlier.
Well, that is like
that's finding out what is actually you need to say about your experience.
Like 100% guaranteed on this.
and what are you need to follow that up with something though. If I'm a 20-year-old, I need to still be doing that. That's like that
What's my invitation?
Yeah.
I want to check in. That doesn't.
No, that's fine.
Really, it's enough.
I wanted to check in with you because I didn't for that kind of discussion. She doesn't want to feel like a guy.
What happened?
No. More on
you really want to avoid that happening. Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Thank you, partners. Oh, okay, demonstrate.
So this is great. So Scott and I came up with something that may work. Well, we don't know. So there I was dancing with Lynn. I turn around. So now we're at the break of the dance.
I felt like something really uncomfortable happened earlier in the dance. And I just wanted to check in with you and see if there's a way we can avoid having that happen again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was. It just, things were too close for me, and you know, I know I dance really close with my friends, and I don't know you. So that's really
No. So what would be I mean, it's fun to
with people I choose to get close with.
So the question that we had that was puzzling, this is great fun. We love all the bubbling conversations that are going on. What's happening in these groups? At the end of it, who in this room can actually picture themselves taking the initiative to try one of those conversations you just kind of roll from? A fair number. That's pretty brave. That's pretty brave. What came up in your conversations about that? What were some of the things that you saw and heard? Yeah.
One of the things that came up in our group was a personal hygiene.
Wow, classic.
I mean, those are hard conversations to have. And what all three of us said is, well, if it was me, I'd want to know. You know, if I had that, I'd want to know, which kind of gave us a little more courage.
And what did you end up coming up with?
We ended up coming up with a pretty straightforward way of approaching it that the other person felt comfortable with doing.
Can we see it?
See it. Let's see it. See it happen.
Okay. I wasn't the one that it was the story for, so yeah, if she wasn't willing. All right. Okay. So I'm Michael, and Shelley and I have a connection. Shelley and I have a connection at the dance, and the root of the reason why Shell doesn't want to dance with me anymore, Michael, is because I have bad breath.
Whoa.
There were some other things, but really she could deal with all those other things, but I had bad breath. Yeah. So, it's break time now, And, well, actually, let's set it up the way it actually happened. So Shell has come up with saying no thank you to him. Good for her, right? Today. But then Michael, me, hey, Shell, we started dance together. Today you said no thank you. Have I done something wrong? What did I do? I don't understand.
Well, you're a really good dancer, and yeah, we've had a lot of fun dancing together. So, to tell you the truth, if it was me, I would want to know, but sometimes your breasts now, so that's why I've been turning them down.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That might not happen that way, but everybody comfortable with that? You're scowling.
Well, I think it could be phrased as more of an I statement. I have trouble with your breath or something, as opposed to your breath. Right? That might make it slightly easier to take. I mean, you took it very well, Michael. I'm a little worried that the real Michael might.
I find your breath less than pleasant.
Or my nose is really sensitive, and the rest of them are
Donna?
And I would probably offer a solution or a suggestion.
Ah.
And there's mints at the table, or I keep mints in my dance bag, or some other a suggestion of how they might do something about this.
How about this for an I statement? I'm really sensitive to your breath. And that's the truth. It's not that I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive to your breath.
Yeah.
But there are breath mints at the table. Or there are these cool little things you get in CVS with toothpaste. Would any of those work for you?
Let's have another role play. I mean, we should have some conversation too, but who else has got a example?
Sure, with a lot of dance stuff going on. Oh my God, sure.
If you're going to go up and someone can tell you.
My example was a difference in attitude towards having a conversation while dancing. And if you're the person...
What was that? Can you stand up, Hal, and turn around?
And when one person wants to have a conversation and the other person doesn't while you're dancing together, I think in like a contra dance, it's kind of hard to have a conversation anyways, so most people don't try. But if you're doing a waltz or whatever, sometimes one person will be very talkative and the other person won't want to talk. And we come up with examples of if you want to have a conversation with somebody, you could say, hey, do you want to chat about blah, 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 or something like that. And if somebody's talking at you and you don't want to talk to them, you could say something like, hey, I would like to talk to you about this later when we have time, or something like that, to be polite about it if, in fact, you would want to engage with the person, but not while you're dancing.
Do you need to say, though, I'd like to talk with you about this some other time? Oh, okay. In which case, I'll start talking to you about my other topic. What you really want to say is what?
I don't really want to have a conversation while dancing.
I want to dance. What's positive?
I want to dance and not talk.
I want to enjoy music.
I want to listen to the beautiful tunes.
Yeah.
Or I have trouble dancing and conversing.
Right.
Then it's kind of thinking
And on a related note, it's also sometimes you do the walkthrough and the person starts yapping. And I'm like, I would like to be able to hear the walkthrough. And
that's fine.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to hear the walkthrough.
I'm not able to hear the walkthrough. I saw people swinging and doing things with their arms. Come on, you guys. What did you figure out you needed to say?
I think we discovered the value of a little white lie, that even if your shoulder doesn't hurt, it makes it easier to tell the person that you have a hurt shoulder, so please don't crank me.
You want to not hurt your children.
I don't want to hurt children.
I don't want to hurt children.
Some of you you don't have that much time. I mean, if it's a partner, you can establish that. But if it's just someone that you're meeting in the line, we had the role play of, at the break rest. I'm sorry if I was a little cranky, but I have problems.
Oh, don't describe the role play. Just do it.
Just do it.
Get ready in your group before
I'm sorry if I was a little cranky, but it kind of pulled on my shoulder, and sometimes I have problems with my shoulder. But I think one of my feelings is that so many we want new people to come. And when new people come, we don't give them a video and a playbook that has all the rules. Although we're trying, we now at the Rehoboth dance, we now have a list of helpful things about asking a partner. So we're sort of getting there. But generally, somebody comes, we don't know what's going on with them. But chances are, if people are not really, really, really nice to them, they may not come back. And we can't, we don't want that. We want people to come, and it's okay if they bumble through. Obviously, it's okay if they bumble through, because it's not like all of those forms of dancing where it says, come to the lessons first. Country, Western, line dancing. You better go to the lessons, or they're gonna walk all over you.
So I have a challenge for you. Can you explain what you said? So you gave your I statement about your experience, but how do you invite a more positive experience in the future and hear from the other person? So sorry if I was cranky earlier, but I can't raise my shoulder like that. So what?
So when you meet me, if we can just do a courtesy turn, keeping our intro, that would be best.
And
for me.
And how do you invite?
And you could help me do that.
Does that work for you?
Oh, does that? Right.
Or the other thing that I like to offer is, like, I like to be twirled, but I can't put my arm over my head. Just like give me a little momentum or inertia to suggest it, and maybe I'll accept it or not. Which is entirely alternate. Nothing wrong with the twirl, it's just the shoulder.
Yeah.
So this brings me to an illustration. We were having trouble coming up with it, and I thought, you ever seen people do children's groups? I've seen some really amazing dance teaching for children's groups. And they actually have to teach the kids how to ask a partner. And it's helpful in beginner session, because this is a weird environment where someone comes from the outside, and what you need a little formula. And the formula is, would you like to dance?
Yes, thank you.
And if you've got a formula, it simplifies a lot of other stuff. And how do you tell someone something that's important to you and invite them to be part of the dialogue rather than just coming at them? I'm looking for a formula. And I bet there are people in this room who have ways of, what's that tag ending that you want to put on your statement or your observation that helps that person feel like they're part of a conversation and not the object of your stuff.
I suggest, how does that work for you?
Other thoughts? Cheryl?
At the Manhattan dances, maybe people have been there or that's their home dance, but I was just there once recently, and they have a flow chart on the wall. So it's like you start with, would you like to dance? And then there's, no thanks. And then there's, oh yes, I would. And the next question is, would you like to lead or follow? And so you follow the flow chart, and then if somebody says no, turns you down, don't ask the same person that evening, unless they say, well, I would love to, but I've already promised this one. So
flow chart.
Yeah.
Another example.
Another role play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is a personal story. I kind of scammed a young lady one evening. She had a terrible swing. She was leaning back.
Are you going to demonstrate this? Are you going to role play this?
That's not necessary. And for some reason, I went up to her at the break, and I don't know why I started this way, but I just asked her, just conversationally, where do you usually dance? So how long have you been dancing? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, I've been, no, I'm not a beginner. I've danced 6 evenings. To which I replied, where this came from, I don't know. Then maybe you're ready for some advanced technique here. Let me show you this advanced technique. And I taught her the head over shoulders, over hips, over feet. And it turned her around as a dancer. She became relatively popular.
So what she didn't understand was she still had a lot to learn.
Exactly. But I didn't tell her this is really basic, and I'm sorry nobody taught you. I said, no,
It's all in the marketing. Pam.
So Lisa, part of what I'm hearing is for us to find ways to communicate with other people what's really happening, as opposed to just putting up and tolerating things that don't work for us.
Well, did anybody have a situation where you realized, oh, this isn't working?
oh, yeah.
Or sometimes it's because you realize it's your issue.
So, yeah, that's one of our categories here. When do you try to do something, and when do you drop it? What are characteristics on either side?
What are the characteristics of dropping it that people came up with?
That the person's brand new.
Okay, if it's something that they're not going to be able to address because they don't have the skills. Okay.
In terms of the partner with a possible bad breath, I found that the technique that you taught at an earlier session about put like the crow looking over and kind of bending too close to the base, instead of going like this when you're swinging, go like that on their shoulders, and you can kind of back it up, so you don't necessarily need to talk about it. You can like physically make the
defensive dancer.
So that if it comes.
So when not to talk is when you are very uncomfortable and you can't figure it out. That is totally legitimate. If you're going to feel so vulnerable, I can imagine a time not to talk is when you can recognize that that person is so angry or so sad or so confused, or it's their birthday. You know, I'm not going to do it right now.
Another possibility is that you can just accommodate it. Right, if somebody's going the wrong way in the hay, you go the wrong way in the hay. It's the mark of an experienced dancer to be able to accommodate the unintentional improvisation.
As opposed to correcting.
Right,
That's
exactly.
great. That's great.
But you have to change your mindset a little bit to be comfortable.
Yeah, they're confused. Is it worth my taking 2 seconds to say, left shoulder? No. That's a great example. Alan.
There are misunderstandings that it becomes clear what the misunderstanding was almost immediately. So it's not necessarily worth going back and hashing it over.
Yeah.
Scott, are you putting when to talk or when not?
I'm putting minuses next to this is a time not to talk.
Totally clear.
We have a couple of...
They're going to have pluses when they're...
We have a couple of dancers in Houston who are perpetually hopeless. And we've tried to talk to them for 25 years and they can't do it, so we don't try anymore.
I have a strong opinion on that one, when it's safety related. There are people who've been dancing for 20 years, but there's still a safety related issue there.
Well, this isn't really safety. It's just like standing there with a red deer in the headlights. I don't know what to do. Really, we've been doing this for a long time.
But it sounds like the rest of the community talked and said, what do we need to understand? Oh, there's nothing we can do, but we can change our behavior.
Right.
So it's not just what that person needs to understand, it's what we need to understand. How about some positives so we understand? Bob.
One positive is when it's somebody you've known for a while.
When you have a relationship.
You have a relationship. You feel comfortable talking to them.
So it feels, yeah. And sometimes knowing who that person feels comfortable talking to, and instead of confronting them one-on-one, say, you know, I know it'll go better if it comes from that person than me.
Thinking about what's
Who
another
can they
way
hear
that
it from
we can hear.
better than from me?
So this is kind of on a boundary with when not to talk. But if you find that you're making up a story about what they meant by that or what they're doing or what kind of person they are, it's often really good to get that cleared up and discuss it.
So how can I say that in 4 or 5 words?
let's see, I can't do 5, but
Instead of
when you want to know that they're not a dick.
Well, the positive is you want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So you're going to go and try to clear up the misunderstandings. Anybody else? Martin, and
I
then
have an alternate perspective on the. Oh, I'm sorry, woman over there left.
Should be right back.
Who suggested the alternative or the defensive posture
Yeah.
when in the swing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea. And here's my idea. I think if you put your hand on the front of the shoulder, then other people will see that and they'll think that that's the correct way to do it. And you may be modeling something and confusing people. So that may promote an attack. And I think also the symmetrical hold is important so that both people are helping to balance each other.
Right, that's a dance style tip, but I do teach defensive dancing because this is a contact sport. And as we have talked about, I mean, this is slightly off topic, but if you've only got 2 seconds to take care of yourself, then this is a totally fine point. Yep. And the brave thing is to be able to go up to this person later and hard and say, you may have noticed that I had to swing this way, and here's why. I don't like being held that closely. So I'm wondering if we could figure out another. That's a very rare thing that happens. But that is personal safety, and that's an issue for women. That's a real, and all women are nodding.
Can we shoot that? Because there's 2 other key things.
Yeah,
that we want to spit out a bunch of words to use or to avoid, and I'll guess which you need. Go! You! I.
God, you just don't understand.
Ouch. Ouch is a positive.
I love dancing with you. But.
And I lied. Bond is a word to avoid, and is a word to use. Yes. Bond is hard and makes it really clear.
Mm-hmm. And I think your point was prefaced it with something positive.
Yeah.
I like dancing with you, and that would be even better if.
If you had this advanced skill.
How about no thank you?
Can we try this?
Oh, is that an invitation, Scott? Somewhere on the right.
Would you like to?
Would you like one idea?
Do your bad breath or one thing?
Would you like one idea to potentially make your walk more pleasurable or more pleasurable?
Are you open to feedback?
I don't like that.
That is not a nice statement.
Okay. Some people that is a preferred thing.
May I ask you about something?
How about with a preface? How about an I statement preface?
It's interesting because I was just at a blues weekend and this was a directive, like, ask if they would like feedback. Would you like some feedback?
Is that a class?
Is that at a class, a workshop, or?
This was specifically a class on giving feedback.
Oh. If I just been
For
dancing
use
along with somebody
outside of this class.
if I had just been dancing along with somebody and at the end I was saying thank you, and I heard, would you like some feedback? As opposed to, I noticed when we were swinging, I was having trouble with this. I was wondering if I could give you some feedback, and then we could work on it together. We have to go. We're going to work on it together. Oh, yeah, burgers. I don't have my camera either. You're going to take these. These are papers. Thank God. Yeah, I don't want
They have these
I'll take them all together.